With the possible exception of the Gulf states, the Niger Delta region of Nigeria sits atop perhaps the biggest deposit of petroleum resources in the world. But there is a quiet consensus around here that this natural endowment has done pretty little to enhance the living conditions and the standards of the environment of the people in that region. The problems of environmental degradation continues to stick out like a sore thumb among a myriad of other environmental and social challenges across the length and breadth of the region. Generations after generations of politicians from the region have tried to push the Niger Delta agenda to the center of national discourse with clearly minimal success. But is the Niger Delta all about its oil? Are there other things that could be flagged to show that there is life beyond the Niger Delta Development Commission and the challenges that that body faces? For a wider conversation about this and other issues, we're now being joined from our Rice Abuja studio by Senator Ita Enang, Special Advisor to President Buhari on Niger Delta Affairs. Senator Enang, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the morning show. Good morning, Senator
Thank
Enang.
you, Dr. Abati.
Yes, good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Again.
Thank you, Dr. Abati.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Good morning. Quickly, I'd like to ask you, we just spent a few minutes with Joy Nunia, former Managing Director, Interim Management Committee of the Niger Delta Development Commission. And she reported on live television that since 4 a.m. this morning, our residence has been under siege. She was supposed to go to Abuja today to continue with the public hearing on the NDDC by a Senate committee, but she was not even allowed to leave her residence. Now, this issue has been in the public domain, and all the gladiators have been making all kinds of statements. What is President Buhari doing about this? Because it looks ugly. It looks like a statement on even the credibility of the administration with regard to the war against corruption. What are your thoughts?
I must plead that I am not seized of the facts of this matter, and I will plead my privilege.
Well, I mean, you are a lawyer. You know, I just give you the facts. I mean, is it the right thing for the residence of somebody who has raised some issues in the public domain to be invaded? Because clearly it looks like an attempt to shut her up, to harass her, to intimidate her, to violate our fundamental human rights. If you don't want to comment directly on the facts placed before you, then, of course, what are your comments on what is going on at the NDDC with regard to the forensic audit and the public hearing that is going on and all the ugly details that are coming out?
I will only comment on facts that are within my personal knowledge, and if the facts are not yet within my personal knowledge, it will not be appropriate for me to comment on. Yes, I am aware of all the public hearings that are going on, and I'm listening to the outcomes and presentations made at the hearings. It will still not be appropriate for me to comment on them because the hearings are still ongoing. No,
you are dodging the question. You are Special Advisor to President Buhari on Niger Delta Affairs. And right now, Niger Delta Affairs are out there in the front burner, and the major concern is corruption in the NDDC and how the revelations rub off negatively on the administration. What kind of advice have you been giving the president, or you will tell the president that you are not aware of what is going on?
It will not be appropriate for me to speak publicly on on issues that border on confidentiality of opinions expressed to the higher authorities. And I will still plead again that I please be allowed to plead my privilege.
Oh, well.
Okay, privilege granted.
Well, you are not only from the region, you've also served the people of the region in various capacities, as a senator, now as a special advisor to the president. I mean, when you look at all that is happening, it's a potpourri of managerial and mismanagement issues at the NDDC. Let me ask you if you are surprised at the level of financial recklessness, contract scam, corruption in the commission. That's one. Are you surprised? And two, who is benefiting from all these intrigues, alleged corrupt practices, and this face-off, this embarrassing situation we are seeing from ministers and top government agencies in the commission? Who is benefiting? Because it's definitely not the people of the Niger Delta region.
Well, I want to say that, yes, I have been involved in this matter, I mean, in the Niger Delta Affairs from my time in the House of Representatives from 1999 to 2011 as a member of the House of Representatives, and 2011 to 2015 as a senator, and 2015 to 2019 August as advisor to the President on Niger Delta. Advisor to the President on National Assembly. Now I'm senior special assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, and I'm particularly concerned about oil alternative economy, economy diversification, and so I would rather want to talk about what we are doing in terms of economy diversification, in terms of oil alternative economy, in terms of the crises that are happening in there, and in terms of the potential danger to the economy of Nigeria. I would want to say that, yes, I was at the center, and I give credit to Gali Umar Naaba and the Oyi of Oyi of blessed memory, because we were at the center of passing the Niger Delta Development Commission Establishment Act in year 2000. And it stands as the only law, and the only law now, today, for the past 20 years, that has become law without the signature of Mr. President. And we watch what is happening, and since these matters are under hearing, it will not be appropriate for me to express opinion. Please, let me not express opinion. I rather will speak on the issues that you raised. I will rather speak on issues that... Yes, sir.
How is it possible to talk about development and oil diversification when the commission set up to, one, tackle development of the region and the, anger, to sort of appease the people who feel shortchanged in the region, has become a conduit for corruption and financial recklessness? How do you then talk about development? How is that possible?
In assigning responsibilities to appointees, there are areas defined as your jurisdiction. And I still want to plead that I be not put on to answer questions on this subject, because I had earlier pleaded and told you what I was asked to address this morning with you. Please, I will not want to talk about the commission, sir.
Oh, okay, but if you say you don't want to talk about it, then what should we talk about? This is the issue on the front burner. As Senator, you've done a lot for the Niger Delta. You've helped this region. You said just now, your words, not mine, that you were part of those that ensured that we set up a Niger Delta Development Commission to address the wrongs in the Niger Delta. To address the wrongs the likes of Adakaboro fought for. But this is happening in the Niger Delta. A lot of people watching the Niger Delta will want to hear you say something as regards this, if not for anything, even the investigation or the forensic analysis. Are you in favor of that? There were also cases of sexual harassment in all of this. We want to hear from you as regards this. We can talk about other issues, but it will not do justice to the interview. There's something called a journalist judgment. And that's what I'm putting to you today. Liberate your people. They're hearing you. They want to hear just something from you.
Please, you will not hear something from me on the Niger Delta Development Commission.
Okay,
today.
Senator Enang,
And
well,
these matters are matters which are under hearing, and it will not be appropriate, sir.
Well, Senator Enang, it looks like you've taken over the interview session. But our position is that as an officer in the Temple of Justice, you also have a bounden duty to speak truth to power. But we respect the choice that you have made in this matter. But let's talk about the bid round for the marginal oil fields, to which people of the Niger Delta continue to object. And they are even asking for a 10% royalty, as had been agreed upon with President Yaradua. And they've even increased what should be the stake, the rate for the stakeholders. What is the presidency thinking about this? Because we've not seen a response to that from the Niger Delta stakeholders.
Thank you very much for the question, and I want to say that we've taken the issues raised by the Warri South and the Baramatu Kingdom, the Ishekri ethnic nationality, and the other ethnic groups and other groups in the Niger Delta. And we are taking up the matter for the purpose of discussion, and we are working on engaging the communities on these matters. Yes, it is correct that there is the 13% derivation. And the argument is that for every aspect, not just revenue that is derived from it, but for the purpose of local content definition, there should be reserved for the areas where this oil is taken from a percentage of the marginal fields where qualified companies from the area are allowed to bid for exclusively, without excluding the indigenous and qualified companies owned by indigenous of these areas to participate in the national bidding. And this already, the challenge is already manifesting in many different directions. And the leaders are just bringing out what the youths have been angling for and what they have been subtly fighting for, which has led to some sabotage in the oil production and the gas facilities. Right now, in the past 48 hours or 72 hours, I have been engaged in managing the situation in the River State, between the Omok and Ogba communities and the Obosi communities. We have also been involved in managing the communities in the Delta, South, and the Warri areas, relating to agitation of certain youths that, look, the era of the big names who were given or said to be given the contract for the oil pipeline protection are over, and that the amnesty that was granted them, there were young men or children at that time. Now they are maturing into adults or youths, and they are not seeing the benefit of it. And they have started agitation. This agitation is damaging and is challenging the production of gas, the production of oil, the security of the oil workers, the security of the oil installations. Some days ago, Nigerian government launched the Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Kano gas pipeline. And right now, with respect, that project, the source of the gas is being threatened, which we have been trying to ensure that we address in such a manner that does not lead to a combustible situation. But we're having real big challenge in the Niger Delta because these persons are up to age, they are of age, and they are beginning a new era and a new form of agitation. One, that they should participate not just as to be given the CLO, community liaison officers, not just to be given the land rent, not just to be given other things, but they should be made to participate in the main economy of the oil producing. They get jealous and envious when they see what oil is being used to do in other parts of the country, when they see agriculture blooming in other areas, and when they see the opulence of the oil workers who come from other areas, and then they are just reduced to being seen as persons who are meant to participate in clearing and cleaning the environment after it's been damaged. So this is what we've been trying to do to manage confidence rebuilding, to manage a situation where we get, the government, to listen and act in a manner that is responsive to their demands. We're working with the oil companies, we're working with the NNPC, we're working with the Ministry of Petroleum, we're working with the gas-producing companies, we're working with the leaders. Even the leaders now have problems. The leaders have big problems. And I want to repeat, the leaders have very serious problems. Because there is problem of being believed again. Because much of the promises that the leaders made to the Niger Delta youth, most of them haven't seen it come to pass. There was this question of gas flare penalty, which had been agreed and signed off during the era of President Yaradua, and agreed during the era of His Excellency President Jonathan, and been worked upon by His Excellency President Buhari. Those are, and it amounts into billions, and it was to be paid. The money is said to be there, but to release it to the community to solve their problem has been quite a problem. So these are the kind of things that we're trying to manage so that the budget of 10.8 trillion and the projected budget of 12.6 trillion in the next 3 years is not endangered. But I must say, I'm afraid if the budget and the revenue expected from oil is not being endangered, or it's not going to be endangered.
So it's safe to say that it's a gathering storm over the relative peace being enjoyed in the region at the moment. And that brings me to the relation with the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, or the PIB bill. Why has that not become a law still, even though we have an administration that has that has found favor in the eyes of the legislators? What is happening with the PIB?
Well, I want to say that the PIB is being driven by His Excellency the Timi Silva and the NNPC, and we're also working together, though. And I am aware that they have had front-loading conversation and meetings with the relevant committees of the Niger Delta. They have gone, even part of the things that the ministry did before the lockdown in February. In fact, I think some of them were almost caught coming back, in the course of trying to come back from the consultative visit they had outside the country. So that was done. And after that, with the National Assembly committees, the essence is that you front load what you are working on so that the legislature will be at one with you. So this consultation has been done, and I understand that there is a consultation with the National Assembly leadership. I read His Excellency the President of the Senate giving indication that as to the timing when the bill will be before the National Assembly. So these are that is the step that is being taken, and we are conscious, we are very optimistic that this bill will be before the National Assembly soon. But I want to say that given the new agitation that we're having, given what has come out to my knowledge in the last 72 hours with the agitation in the Niger Delta, I think we need to have a sit down with another generation, with the new generation of Niger Delta stakeholders, Niger Delta youths, because they are seeing things differently. I said earlier, there is a trust deficit between this new generation of youths who have risen. Some of them were not born. Some of them were just children, just ordinary children, not yet youths. When we negotiated the amnesty, some of them were just being born when we had the Niger Delta Development Commission. Some of them were just being born when we had the onshore-offshore dichotomy abolition, which has made which brought much development and attention to the Niger. But there is so much that has happened after that, which has seemed that all that has been packed and nothing seems to be, not much seems to be happening. Okay. So before we present this bill, before the National Assembly, we should take the new agitation into account. The question of a percentage of the oil marginal fields being reserved and all that.
Well, I'd like to say a very big thank you. You know, but like you said, I'll have loved to talk about this agitation because the young people too you talked about are watching what is happening in the NDDC, and they will have loved to hear your comment on this. But like you said, you won't be giving us a comment on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.